What is up, y'all? It's very early on a Saturday morning right now. I just showered and sneezed a bunch of times, so I'm feeling absolutely ready to make this video. I kind of just I was sneezing and then I clicked record and now I'm here. As you can tell, I'm on the Game Awards website right now because it's coming up. Today is the 28th of November, my time. I'm dating myself, but whatever. And so the Game Awards is in a few weeks. And so there's really two award shows that I pay close attention to every year, and that's the Oscars and then the Game Awards, because they're the ones that have the most impact in my life, and if there really is any impact. But that's besides the point. So I kind of wanted to come on here today, and I'm gonna open this up now because I want to talk about the big award, Game of the Year. It's always super interesting where Game of the Year award goes to. And this year, I think it's a very interesting bag of games, because especially on the day this was announced, these games here, I saw a lot of either love or hate on Twitter for what had been nominated and what people think is gonna win the award. And so I kind of wanted to come in here and break it down and talk about my 2 cents as to what deserves to win, what probably will win, and why some games I don't think have a chance. Honestly. So I guess let's just kick it off. We'll start by going left to right, and just go through the games and talk about whether they deserve to win. Now, Doom Eternal, next entry in the Doom franchise, of course, long-running franchise, sequel to Doom, which came out a few years ago. I think this is the least likely one to win the award, just straight away. It's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, so don't get me wrong in that sense. But compared to the other games that it's up against, I don't think it has quite the oomph or impact that these other games had. And it's graphically, it was a beautiful game. Musically, there were some problems, and that was a whole controversy early on, but it doesn't really impact this, I don't think. I think this Doom, it was Doom's year to lose, basically. There's no chance, I don't think, within this lineup. Final Fantasy VII Remake has brought in a lot of controversy because it's a remake. And I guess that brings up the question, can a remake of a game be nominated for Game of the Year? And a few years ago, God of War won, and that wasn't really a remake. It was sort of a soft reboot, kind of. I don't know. But people were especially upset about Final Fantasy VII because Persona 5 didn't get nominated for Game of the Year. But that, and I guess therein lies the weird difference. So Persona 5 was a remaster. A remaster being updating a few things, adding a few things, yada yada yada. Same with Xenoblade, actually. The remaster of the first Xenoblade Chronicles game is in the same boat as Persona. They are remasters. They add a little bit, they update a little bit of stuff, but it's the same base game. And what makes Final Fantasy VII different is that they built that shit from the ground up. They didn't just update it and because they've released remasters of the original Final Fantasy VII in the past. But the remake here is a full ground up rebuild. They've changed story beats. They've changed the entire Final Fantasy combat system, although you can play with the original one, but they've totally changed up something new. So I think that's why it at least deserves the nod in this case, and what sets it apart from things like Persona 5 and Xenoblade, and why it's in this best category and not those games. Ghost of Tsushima, next one over. I think this one has a fairly likely chance of winning. I think in this case, it's weird because this is the game that I've seen the least of, but I think it has the highest chance of winning, or you're close to the highest chance of winning, because, and I'll get into this a little more, but I think it's one of the more original concepts for a game, and that it brought a lot of new things to the table. And I'll touch back on that idea. I'm gonna move along, because I'll go into a big thing at the end here, but I'll move along to the next thing quickly. Hades, in the same boat as Tsushima, brought a lot of new things to the table, which I think makes it a heavy hitter in this category. I think for sure it's gonna round up a bunch of other awards at this show. It's gonna probably get best art design for sure, maybe best soundtrack. It's possible. Maybe best voice actor too, even. And I don't remember all the awards off the top of my head that it was nominated for, but I think it's going to get at least a few awards, if not this award as well. Animal Crossing New Horizons is the opposite of these two games here. Animal Crossing New Horizons is just another entry in a long-running series now, I guess, that didn't really, it brought new ideas to the table for the Animal Crossing universe, but it didn't really bring anything new or interesting to the game world as a whole, I would say. It takes a lot of inspiration from other games that have already done similar things in the past. Your Stardew Valleys, your Harvest Moons, things like that, and it puts them into the Animal Crossing package, which I think, especially for the impact that it had during the beginning of the pandemic, it deserves a nod at least, because it brought people together through Animal Crossing, which was pretty incredible. But in terms of being a game of the year, I don't think it has quite the impact. Last but not least, also, I just want to say I don't hate Animal Crossing either. I think I had a lot of fun playing Animal Crossing, so don't shoot me in the comments. The Last of Us Part 2 is the last game on here. I want to put this one, people are going to get mad. This is the most controversial game on here for sure. People either love The Last of Us Part 2 or hate The Last of Us Part 2. There is literally zero in between. I'm going to try to be that in between here. The Last of Us Part 2 is not by any stretch of the imagination a bad game. Not by any means. But it's in the same exact boat as Animal Crossing, where it didn't bring anything interesting or new to the world of gaming. I think, and this is something I want to say right now too, I think The Last of Us 2 did bring some interesting things to parts of the gaming world, especially with their accessibility features, which I definitely think it deserves to get awarded for that. But in terms of the game itself, the content of the game, the gameplay, the story, all of that, I don't think it didn't bring anything interesting or new. It's just, I think, just a rehashed kind of story, you know? And people will probably get mad at me for that. Some people love the story, but I don't think it introduced any new ideas or thoughts to the gaming world. And so, while it's definitely a highly rated game, and some people just absolutely love it, I don't think it's gonna win the award. Also, just as a side note, I don't think it's gonna win the award because of how controversial it is. Just in the gaming world, like I said, people love it or hate it. So I think that might make that contentious vote, especially because I don't know how the votes, because you can sign in and you can vote on their website. I don't know how that impacts the actual winner, but maybe there's a fan pick or whatever, but who knows? I just whacked my microphone. But I don't think it has the impact of, let's say, these middle two games here, and I'll go back and talk about that more. In terms, like I was saying, I guess, all of these games, it's weird because I want to point at my screen, but these two and these two, while cool, interesting, whatever, did not bring new things to the table. And that's not saying that these two middle games didn't take inspiration from other games, because they definitely did. And I think though that at least they introduced some new ideas and concepts that other games had yet to explore. So I'll talk about Hades because that's the one I watched my roommates play so much Hades over this past month, and I finally picked it up last night. And what I think is so impressive about Hades is the way it takes a roguelike game where inherently things change. It's about doing runs over and over and over again and experiencing new things. Things change, use different weapons, different upgrades, things like that. But Hades puts that idea into the concept of a narrative story as well, because as you play the game you learn more about all the characters around you, your main character. You get to, I guess, interact with the different Greek gods, goddesses, demigods, heroes of old, Furies, and you get to interact with them and I guess learn more about their characters as well. So as much as it is a roguelike game, it's also almost a character study game about all the people around you and the way you interact with them and the way that what you do in the game affects them as well. And so I think because of that, it has a chance of being victorious. But at the same time, it is an indie game. It is probably like the least funded out of all of these games here. But I don't want to let the price it took to make a game impact like the outcome of this award show, you know? It might. I don't know for sure, but I think like putting that like aside is kind of the underdog in a sense. Oh man. Because it's an indie game. It's like the lowest common denominator. I don't want to put it like that because indie games are fucking amazing, but it's a weird way to put it. But I think that might give Ghost of Tsushima, which that was my transition that I just did. It might give Ghost of Tsushima an upper hand in this running. Because Ghost of Tsushima is a AAA game, and I think it brought to life a combination of different experiences. There's a little bit of Assassin's Creed in there, a little bit of Dark Souls, a little bit of, oh man, I guess not even Dark Souls, like Sekiro more likely, just with the locale of the game. But it brought together sort of those stealth ideas, those hardcore intense action ideas, and it like beautifully blended them together in I don't know the best way to put this, like an amalgamation of ideas. And it's all like these ideas are all put behind gorgeous graphics, and I mean absolutely fucking gorgeous graphics. Ghost of Tsushima looks absolutely amazing, and it also has, I mean, great music. And it's just like, in terms of the world that Ghost of Tsushima built, like in terms of scale, in terms of everything, it's absolutely gorgeous, I guess is the best way to put it. And backing that up is then the gameplay, story aspects, things like that. Which, I mean, Hades and Ghost of Tsushima are both beautiful games. There's no doubt about it. But they're at different ends of like the beautiful spectrum, where Ghost of Tsushima is in the 3D, amazing, beautiful space, and Hades is in like the 2D, almost style. I mean, it's kind of like stylized 3D with perspective, but I'm gonna call it the more animated 2D kind of style. And they're at different ends of the beautiful spectrum, neither one of which is more beautiful than the other. Both games look absolutely gorgeous. So I guess I'm gonna try to wrap up my thoughts here, because I don't have like a ton more to say. I don't want this video to go on for like half an hour. I think I would want Hades to win, okay? Because of, I guess, the impact it had on me and my life and the way, like, the things that I like about it, I guess. But in terms of the Game Awards in a grand scale thing, I think Ghost of Tsushima has a chance at winning it. I think it might have a higher chance than Hades does. And now, that's not to entirely rule out the other games here, because these other games have their own merits, and whoever not votes for these games might see that. Like, for example, I could see an outcome where The Last of Us 2 wins. If it goes past the controversy of it, it could win. I could see Animal Crossing winning. I don't think it really should, but I think I could see a future where it happens. Doom Eternal, like I already said, I don't see much of a chance of that winning Game of the Year. Final Fantasy VII Remake, like, while it's cool, I think there's holdbacks where it's not a complete game, in that you don't get the full Final Fantasy VII experience because they're splitting it up into like 3 parts. So I think, just to reiterate myself, I would like Hades to win, but I think Ghost of Tsushima will win. There. I said it. I'm not going to go on any longer. This video's already getting to a certain point. So I just want to say thank you for watching. It's been a while since I made a video. I'm going to try to make some more videos in the future. I've just been super busy with school, job applications, that sort of stuff. But winter break's coming. I'll have a lot more free time then. So expect some more videos in the future. Take this to tide you over. I hope you enjoyed. If you like what you saw and you're not subscribed already, please drop a subscription. That sounds weird. That sounds like you're paying for something. Please press that subscribe button. Like, comment, do whatever y'all feel like doing. And thank you so much for watching. And hopefully I'll be back soon with another video. I don't know what on yet. We'll get there eventually. Peace out, y'all. I'll catch you on the flip side.